Welcome back to another video. If Marvel Rivals has been taking over your life and you want to be out of bronze, you want to just be an overall better player, today we're going to review how the top of the leaderboard on all of Marvel Rivals plays Luna Snow. Now the beauty with Marvel Rivals is that you can actually go to the top of the global leaderboard and see the stats, see the replays for the top players. So today we're going to be watching MACE and Nector. You can see MACE, he mainly plays Magneto, Strange, and Groot, but he also plays Luna. Now his friend Nectar, I don't have his stats, but they do switch off between round 1, 2, and 3. So we're just going to follow Luna Snow for this gameplay breakdown and see the kind of things we can learn from them playing in the Yggsgard map. Alright, so let's get right into it and start the replay. So we'll be spectating MACE on this map. Keep in mind that their gameplay could change depending on the map that they're playing. Not every character dominates on every map. Alright, so we already see everyone's heading out. They have 3 healers in this match. They have Luna, they have Rocket, and they have Cloak and Dagger. So already you can tell Luna Snow is super far back, not even in the line of sight of enemies. She's actually using that wall on the left and that cover on the right to keep herself alive the entire start of the game. Even using that Rocket super jump that you get from Rocket's respawn beacon to get some extra healing from far away. Just like any good healer, you see that Luna Snow is pushing far back. She doesn't want to get in line of sight of the enemies, because if your healers die, then the game gets really difficult from there. Wow, even when the enemy team has taken the point, she still pushes back and doesn't try to make that hero play that most people try. Really supporting her tanks, that's honestly how you're supposed to really play this game as a healer. Support your tanks. They can take out so many players and take so much damage. And usually as long as they're alive, then you can keep the game going and keep it in your favor. Wow. Did you see that? They used Rocket's respawn beacon so Luna could get back in the action right away. Now the rest of the teammates did end up dying, so it looks like she pushed back and just held a safer position until everyone came back into the fight. We can't overstate how much Luna Snow is using cover on this map. Just take note of all the spots that she's using to hide, maybe give her team an advantage, give him some comms. So here it looks like all her teammates jumped into the fight, so she went right in to support them and make sure that they have a better chance of actually winning this fight. Just watch how quickly the game goes from passive to intense as all the teammates approach from the left and start fighting. She gets back there, makes sure she can heal them as they get back into the fight. And as you're going to see here, they actually clear out the enemy team pretty fast. And she even does a little bit of DPS there when she sees that the enemy is weak. And she sees that her teammates don't need too much healing. So she goes on the offense and tries to help them get that last KO. So far into the match, you can see that she's only died 1 time, which is really solid. As a healer, you definitely don't want to be dying. As a healer, you're really the key person that's going to help your team win the fights. A lot of times, it can really come down to who has the best healer. So right there, you saw Magneto got low, and Luna quickly jumped into action, switching over to her other ability. So right here, she's keeping Magneto alive pretty well with the guard. And as Magneto gets pulled in, it looks like she switches over to her powered up healing ability to heal him even faster. Wow. She got taken out, but again, Rocket has that respawn beacon, and that brought her back into the fight super fast. And that can really change the whole game for the team right there. It looks like here, as she saw that her teammates in the front were getting healed or not taking too much damage, she looked back, made sure that everyone on the back lines was getting healed as well. Obviously here, the other team is a pro team. They countered her ult really well with that Groot and maybe some other damage from other players, taking her out completely for the first time in the whole game. We had to go over 7 minutes into the replay for her to go back to the respawn room. That's how well this team is playing. They're not letting their healers respawn far away. They're getting right back into the fight every single time. So if we're looking at the stats so far into the game, it looks like the other team actually has a lot of kills. They also have a Luna Snow in this match, and their Luna has not died all game. Alright, let's go back to before Luna Snow died. She popped her ult. They got her with her ult. You can see that she had 275 health. It keeps going back up and down. They do an ultimate, rush her with a ton of DPS damage, and take her out. So at that point, it looks like they took her out and 2 other teammates. As soon as the defending team ran out of a healer, everyone else was easy pickings for the enemy team, and they respawned on the other side of the map. So they immediately pulled back to where the rest of the team was going to respawn. I think one major thing we can see here is that the healers are not getting desperate. They're not going to the front line trying to defend it by themselves, trying to pull a Hail Mary. No, they're going right back to their teammates, healing them, being good supports for the tanks and DPS. You can quickly see how fast they push the enemy team back. As soon as the whole team regroups, plays together, and stays healed, they push the enemy team so far back, all the way to their spawn room. Wow, Magneto taking her out. She only has 300 HP, 275 to be exact. So a 75% charge with that Magneto ball takes her out right away. So in times like this, the clock's about to run out and the enemy team was almost there, but it looks like they were able to take out the healer and quickly push the team out. But yeah, you can really see that as soon as the healer dies, the rest of the team starts trickling out as well. Now you can actually see Nectar starts with Cloak and Dagger, and we don't know the conversations they're having with the team, but it looks like eventually they do switch over to Luna. My only guess is that they want to take turns. I mean, being healer is very exhausting. Being DPS is exhausting, but being DPS is a lot more fun than being healer and sitting in the back lines all game. Alright, so on the attack, quickly getting out, not even staying in the spawn room. Most people would probably use the spawn room as protection, but it looks like the other team is playing the same strategy, using that corner as a chokehold. So Luna Snow comes out and supports her tanks right away. Definitely pay attention to that guard. Luna Snow is using it for the player that she's protecting most. She's not giving it to a side player, a DPS. No, she's using that guard on her main tank that she's supporting. And if you notice, most of the game she's also supporting just one player. If there's time or if it's in her way, she'll support the other players like the DPS or other tanks, but for the most part she's focused on just supporting one tank. And we almost missed it, but here Punisher got his ult and she gives him the guard so he doesn't die. Punisher's ult is really strong, so you definitely want to make sure he can get that off and clear out the enemy team. After Punisher plays his ult, you can see that the enemy team pretty much all completely gets wiped out. So it looks like Luna here goes on the offense. Instead of trying to heal, there's nothing to heal, so she goes on DPS and attacks to help clear out the rest of the team. I think a lot of healers miss this part. They either only heal or either only attack, when most of the time you're going to be healer 90% of the time, but that 10% of the time when you have some people or some enemies on that last bit of health, you definitely want to switch over and focus them with the rest of your team. I think if you notice, most of the game they don't really focus her as the healer. She does a really good job of hiding, but also even when she's in their line of sight, a lot of times the enemy team is focusing their tanks or DPS. They don't really go for her as the healer until they know they can wipe her out for sure. So that's something to note if you're on the enemy team and you want to take out a Luna Only attack her when you're 100% sure you can take her out. Here she ults. They're taking the point. Doing really well. No one really needs healing, but she can't do anything else when she's ulting. She's kind of just stuck on the ult. Wow. Really good awareness there. Moon Knight used his ult. And she moves out of the way so that she stays alive. The rest of the team also moved out of the way. We can see that only Punisher really got taken out. So let's watch that back. If you noticed, it's within 1 minute that they kind of take most of that entire path from start to finish. Luna is clearing out a lot of those walls, the onks from Moon Knight. She's making sure her team is healed. She's playing some DPS there when she sees an opportunity. So this is very dynamic gameplay, and honestly you need a lot of game sense to play Luna like this. I think this Luna is being a little bit more it could be that they're attacking this time instead of defending, but you can see that this Luna is doing a lot more DPSing than the previous Luna, which was Mace. So here this Luna is also using the cover, staying back, same thing as the previous Luna. So everyone gets really low here. She doesn't try to make a push to go to the front line or anything. She still stays back, tries to stay alive. And you see that awareness from the team. The tanks also have to push back if they want to get healed. You can't put your healers in a bad position. And it looks like they died. They tried to push forward, but they died. Can't really do much there as the healer. If the healer pushes forward, they're probably going to die as well. And I think that's really due more to the map there. The enemy team has a really wide opening where they can set up in different spots of the map, left and right, while the incoming team that's attacking is kind of in a narrow tunnel sandwiched together, so there are easy pickings for the enemy team. So quickly get back into the action. The one thing you don't want to do as Luna or as a healer in general is die, because the faster you're ready, the faster the rest of the team can go into the fight as well. So right there, using her ult, everyone gathers up, gets together. She starts supporting her DPS while he tries to take out the enemy player there. So she doesn't just stay back here. She knows that most of the enemy team is dead, so she goes and supports her DPS if he's gonna try and kill the last guy that's alive hiding in that corner. Obviously pulling back, classic good healer technique. Pulling back, getting cover, making sure you don't die. Here she's getting forced into DPS. There's no one to defend her. The rest of the team is dead. Literally only the healers are alive at this point. And they get her. Wow. Alright, so she respawns, goes right back into the action. The enemy team is really aggressive. I think at this point, I don't know if they're focusing her specifically, but they did take her out and the rest of her team out. They have less than 2 minutes on the clock, so they still have some time. They're regrouping. It looks like she's switching over to focusing the tanks on the front. Let's see if she switches off Groot. Still has that guard on Groot. Pay attention to that. But she's supporting her Magneto. Maybe their Magneto is going to be the one that's going to make the key play here to try and take out the other team. So Magneto went for the DPS, not for Luna. Very interesting choice. And Luna already has her ult. Wow. She got her ult really fast there. And supporting her team on that last stretch right there. Let's see if they finish faster than the enemy team did on the last round. She's trying to break those walls. She's trying to get a line of sight on her tanks there. And let's see. Ooh, wow. She really tried there with the tank, but they took him out. She lost line of sight, and that really affected her healing ability there. But that's how it is on choke points like that. Tight, narrow corners, they can really change the game if you hold them well or if you can push past them. Again, using her ult. Oh wow, they ran the clock to the very end. All the healers are popping their ults, it looks like. They got 3 of the enemy team out. Luna switching to DPS their last second, trying to really get those last pickings on the last ones, on the last enemies that are alive. And they secure the 3 points. Now we're going into overtime. Let's see what happens in overtime. And of course, only 1 minute on the clock here. So let's see how they push and win it. Okay, it looks like this time, last time she tried to get behind the cart, I believe. This time she's going more on the left side, really using that corner. Still not exposing herself. Healing the other healers as well, if you noticed. Okay, it looks like Moon Knight was taking out the DPS, so she started healing the DPS. One thing you really need as a healer is a lot of game sense, you know, and a lot of awareness. Just if your tanks are not taking damage, you can try and heal someone else. Maybe your DPS is taking damage, maybe they need help more. Right there, she switched to her higher healing ability to try and save her teammates, but they couldn't do it. So since that only took out the tank, it looks like the enemy team got wiped out by the DPS, leaving only their healers and Magneto, I think. And then of course Luna switched over to DPS last second there to try and secure that KO on the enemy team with the rest of her teammates. So here it looks like she's staying with the cart, maybe even using that cart for a little bit of cover. Definitely using the rocks on the side of the map there. It looks like Groot maybe try to push the enemy team back to their spawn. Yep, using those walls to block off that tunnel. Really good gameplay there. She really focused one tank for most of the game, and that's what the other Luna did as well. So yeah, it looks like if you're Luna, you don't want to go against a Groot that's going to ultimate you and then have the rest of the team focus you. You also don't want to be in front of a Magneto. So Luna right there doing some cleaning up, getting those walls out of the way, getting the onks out of the way. Really trying to get all those little details that the rest of the team might be too busy to get. If you're paying attention here, Luna really thrives on having that respawn ability from Rocket, so she can get right back into the fight. So right here, if she didn't have that respawn ability, it's very likely that her team would get taken out really fast. Especially since it takes, 7 seconds, 10 seconds to respawn, plus all the time it takes for you to travel back to your teammates. That could be 20, 30 seconds. It's a really long time, and it gives the enemy team an opportunity to take you out. So she has her ultimate here, but if you can tell, she's saving it for a key moment. She's not just going to use it when her team is fully healed up. There's no reason to use it. A lot of these higher ranked gameplays really come down to who can use their ult the best. You don't want to waste your ult. You don't want to get countered when you're using your ult. You can see right there, Groot blocks off the walls. She uses her ult to make sure they get the point 100%, and they secure those points. So once again, same as Mace did on the first round, hiding behind those walls on this corner, really using that cover to the healer's advantage so they don't have a line of sight to the enemy team. You don't want them to take you out. So here she has the team kind of sandwiched in front of her, so she does heal more than just one player. But you can see right there, she looks away and then immediately right back to the Groot and the Magneto tanks. Those are going to be the two key players you want to keep alive as a healer. Your tanks can take the most damage, and they can wipe out DPS really fast on the enemy team. So those are going to be your key players that you want to keep alive. So surprisingly, she's not going much further back, even though the enemy team is right on her too. She's really staying there, trying to get those walls out of the way, supporting her teammates. Using her ult there on the last 25 seconds. Wow. They know that if they can use that ult on the last few seconds of the clock, their team can really push the other team back, using those walls to make them stay back as well. And it looks like they got it with a well-timed ult. They didn't even let them get the first point. Incredible gameplay from the top leaderboard Luna Snows. Now that the game ended, let's see the stats. 40,000 heals on Nectar as Luna, with almost 18,000 on Mace as Luna. So 60,000, almost 58,000 heals, let's say. More than that, right? And on the enemy team, they have a Lord Luna, Pizza Demon. He had 73,676 on the heals. Pretty insane heals. And if you look at all their healers all together, over 100,000 heals for these games. Pretty insane. So to recap for Luna Snow, we're going to break it down into 3 categories for the most important things you need to focus on. And that's going to be staying alive, your healing sense, and also securing KOs. So for staying alive, positioning is going to be the main thing here. Can you hide behind a wall? Can you get out of the enemy's line of sight so they can't take you out? You really want to stay alive for as much of the game as possible, since your team can't effectively push if they don't have their healers. Now, if for some reason you do end up in your enemy's line of sight, the best thing you can do is really go to your nearest tank or DPS, which should be near you, and support them so that they can take out the enemy that's chasing you around. Now, if that's not an option and you do happen to be in front of your enemies, you can always flee. Luna Snow is really fast. Just flee to cover and wait for your teammates to come back. And that could even mean running across the map. If your teammates happen to respawn further down at another point, go regroup with them. And one last thing you could consider is your team up ability with Rocket. He could respawn you with his beacon. That's super helpful. So if you do happen to die, you can get right back into the action and support your team. Now on to the next thing, healing sense. This is kind of a priority list of who you heal first and who you heal last. In that priority list, number 1 is really going to be your tanks. You want to use your guard on them. You want to keep them healed as much as possible. Everyone else comes second. You always want to refocus your tank, since they're going to be the ones taking the most damage and also being able to take out the DPS and healers on the other team. If you do see that your tanks are getting low or your teammates are getting a lot of damage, maybe they get pulled in, you'll want to use your Ice Arts ability, and that's going to allow you to heal your teammates faster and hopefully keep them alive while they're taking more damage. Next on your line of priorities is going to be teammates that are doing their ultimates. So if you have a Punisher, definitely support him. Make sure he stays alive so that he can clear out the other team with his ultimate. And right in line with that could be any teammates that are making key plays. Like in our gameplay earlier, we watched that Groot block off that entrance. That can give your team a huge advantage, especially since in that gameplay clip, he blocked off an entrance, which is the main entrance that the enemies would have used to attack their team. And last on that priority list is really going to be other healers. They should be able to heal themselves most of the time, or they should also be keeping themselves safe enough to not need healing. And the last thing you want to do as Luna Snow, if you really see that the enemy team maybe has 4 people wiped out, there's only 2 left, then you can become DPS and help your teammates focus those enemies. I really have to emphasize that this is only a play you do if there's 1 or 2 enemies left. There's no reason for you to stop healing any other time in the match. This is the only time that's really acceptable for you to do damage so that you can help secure that ace on the enemy team. And in line with your KOs, you really don't want to use your freeze ability. It's going to be a waste of time. The top players are not really using it. They're maybe using it as a last resort or maybe like 2 times a match, but you can really ignore that ability. It doesn't help. Just focus on healing. That's the only thing you really want to do with Luna Snow. Heal. And before we forget, you always want to time your ult just right. So there's obviously a lot of opportunities to use it throughout the game to secure a win in a fight or secure a chokehold, things like that. But you also want to use it if you're almost at the last part of the point, if you're escorting, if you're playing any domination, or as we saw them use it when they were defending, they used the Luna's ultimate to secure those last few seconds and delay the enemy enough so that they didn't go into overtime. Especially in higher ranks, it really is a technique to use your ultimate so that the enemy team doesn't get any overtime. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this breakdown and all the tips and tricks on how to play Luna Snow. Let me know what hero I should do next. And if you have any other video ideas for Marvel Rivals that you would like to see, let me know in the comments. I am new here, but so is Marvel Rivals, so we can all grow together on this channel. Just remember to subscribe, turn on those post notifications on YouTube, ring that bell, hit that like button, and yeah, I think that's everything YouTubers say. If you have anything else, let me know in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video.